ang galing ng Pilipino. MLQU, you are the best among the best.
Dear Luzonians, as a final reminder, may everyone please settle down, as we will be starting our program shortly. Kindly remind your blockmates who are not yet present to come as soon as possible. I also request everyone to please put their mobile phones on silent mode to avoid any interruptions during the program. I highly encourage everyone to take notes during the session, as we will have a question and answer portion later in the program. Thank you and good afternoon, Quezonians. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand as we begin this event with a prayer. Let us put ourselves into the most holy presence of our Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we are gathered here today with hearts full of gratitude and minds open to the pursuit of knowledge. We thank you for the privilege of convening as an academic community to examine the complexities of our ever-evolving world. We express our deepest appreciation for the General Education Program under the visionary leadership of its director and the advisor of the Legal Management Society, Attorney Keith Cipriano. We are grateful for their dedication to fostering critical inquiry and for their tireless efforts in making this event into a reality. Their commitment to a holistic education provides the essential foundation upon which we build our understanding of the society and technology. Lord, we ask for your guidance as we welcome our esteemed speaker, Ms. Karen de Guzman Abuela. Grant her clarity and inspiration as she leads us through her discourse. In an era filled and defined by rapid technological shifts, help us to sharpen our discernment and strengthen our commitment to ethical communication. May this session be more than a transfer of information. Let it be a transformative experience that empowers us to be vigilant guardians of truth and architects of trust in the digital landscape. This we pray through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please remain standing as we sing the Philippine National Anthem. Everyone may now be seated. To formally open today's program, it is our distinct honor to welcome a leader dedicated to academic excellence of our institution. To share his insights and welcome our participants, please join me in welcoming the Director of the General Education Program and the Advisor of the Legal Management Society, Attorney Keith Hernandez Cipriano.
Thank you, Mr. Pita. distinguished guests, esteemed faculty, dear students, and partners in the lifelong pursuit of learning, good afternoon. It is my honor to welcome you to today's session of Gen Talks, the MLQU General Education Program Lecture Series. Gen Talks has always been a space of curiosity, dialogue, and intellectual courage. As we gather today for the topic, Media at the Edge, Navigating Truth and Trust in the Age of AI, we continue the tradition with renewed purpose. Before we begin, allow me to acknowledge something important. Those who have been with us since the first leg of Gen Talks last February will undeniably notice that today's event feels different. More modest, less elaborate, and intentionally dialed down from the exuberance, extravagance, and spectacle that once characterized Gen Talks. This shift is not accidental. It is a deliberate response to the ongoing energy crisis affecting communities across our country. As an institution, MLQU has a responsibility to exemplify prudence, solidarity, and responsible stewardship. By simplifying our events, reducing non-essential consumption, and being more intentional with our resources, we affirm that meaningful education does not depend on extravagance. Rather, it depends on clarity, purpose, and commitment. And let me emphasize this clearly. The simplicity of today's program is not in any way an indictment of our speaker. It is not a reflection of lesser importance, lesser expertise, or lesser value. On the contrary, it reflects our shared belief that the strength of Gen Talks lies not in production scale, but in the power of ideas and in the voices that resonate in our discussion. In fact, today's theme echoes significantly in this context. We are talking about truth and trust in an age shaped by artificial intelligence, an age where abundance of information does not always mean an abundance of understanding. In the same manner, an abundance of production does not always mean an abundance of meaning. By choosing simplicity, we return to what matters: the exchange of ideas, the sharpening of judgment, and the cultivation of ethical awareness. We stand at a moment when AI can generate images, voices, and narratives that obscure the boundaries between authenticity and artificiality. Information moves faster than reflection, and misinformation spreads more swiftly than facts. In this landscape, truth becomes something we must actively discern, and trust becomes something we must consciously build. This is why today's conversation is essential, because the challenge before us is not only technological, it is civic, it is ethical, and deeply human. Our general education program is designed precisely for this moment. It equips our students not just with knowledge, but with discernment and critical thinking. Not just with skills, but with judgment. Not just with information, but with the capacity to navigate complexity with integrity. Today we ask, how do we verify truth in an era of deepfakes and synthetic media? How do we sustain trust when digital platforms amplify noise over nuance? How do we ensure that AI becomes a tool for empowerment rather than manipulation? These questions demand courage, curiosity, and critical thinking, qualities that MLQU seeks to cultivate and nurture in every Quezonian. To our guest speaker, Ms. Katrina Karen Davila, de Guzman. De Guzman Acuel. Thank you for guiding us through this terrain. Your insights will help us understand not only the risks, but also the possibilities of how AI can strengthen journalism, enhance education, and expand access to knowledge when used responsibly, prudently, and with wisdom. I would also like to thank our fellow faculty member in the General Education Program, Attorney Katie Guzman, who has given us access to her sister, our present guest speaker, especially making today's event possible. Unfortunately, Attorney Kay is indisposed to personally join us owing to her responsibilities as a lawyer litigator. Rest assured that she has extended her support to us for today's event. Appreciation is likewise not lost for my dear Secretary, Reginald Pradicina, who has pulled everything together to ensure this event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Equally important to this enterprise is the invaluable help provided to us by our partner organization, the Legal Management Society, without whom our department could not have functioned in organizing this activity. To our dear students, may today's discussion inspire you to be vigilant, discerning, and critical. The future of media and the future of truth will be shaped by your choices, your voices, and your values. As we begin our discussion, let us remember one fundamental thing. Technology does not define our humanity. On the contrary, it reveals it. And in this age of rapid change, our greatest responsibility is not simply to keep up, but to stay grounded, to hold fast to truth, to nurture trust, and to ensure that progress remains anchored in ethics and accountability. With that, I officially open today's Gen Talk session. Thank you very much and welcome to our program.
Thank you, Attorney Keith Hernandez Cipriano. Truly, that was a wonderful welcoming remarks. I would like to agree. In a day where AI is prevalent, navigating through technology seems hard. I myself am a user of AI.
Huh?
Well, and it would seem that some of the students here do use AI too. I would like to use this time to ask our fellow students to make it a little bit more interactive. Who uses AI? Oh, Miss, I think this is the first time I've seen you here. May I ask for your name and your program? And do you use AI?
Basic skills.
Name and program.
Hindi pa. Kasi mo mag-itigay.
No. Name, tsaka program. Ha? Ready from engineering. So no, you don't use AI? No, di ka nag-AI? Nag-AI. What AI do you use? For information. So she uses AI. So Miss Regeline from engineering uses AI for information. Personally, parang may mga kilala akong legal management students din na nagtatanong ng AI, paggawa ng case digest. parang sa dami ng cases na nakaharap namin. Pero from what I see here, merong mga criminology students. Let's ask them. Kuya, may I ask for your name? And from what year? Kasi mga naman criminology student. From what year and do you use AI?
My name is Jayan. I'm a criminology student from this university.
For what specific use do you use AI?
Mostly when it comes to translation and research and search and topics.
Last na, Kuya JM, from criminology, do you think dependence on AI is good or bad?
It is very bad.
So Kuya JM from criminology says that dependence on AI is bad. So thank you. This showcases that Quezonian students, although are aware of the uses of AI, still need a bit more guidance. That's why here is our speaker today. Let me introduce her. In an era where technology evolves faster than our regulations, the line between reality and fabrication often becomes blurred. Today, we dive deep into the heart of this AI-driven era. To formally introduce our speaker for today, she is a multi-platform reporter for ABS-CBN News. She primarily covers crime, disasters, and other major assignments for television and digital platforms. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Speech and Communication from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, graduating cum laude in 2016. Currently assigned to the Philippine National Police League, she has established herself as a trusted police reporter covering high-stakes and fast-moving stories where speed, verification, and public trust are critical. Her lecture today, titled Media at the Edge, Navigating the Truth and Trust in the Age of AI, highlights how journalists must adapt to new technologies while upholding accuracy and credibility in the digital age. So without further ado, let us give her a warm round of applause for Ms. Karen de Guzman Abuel.
Hello. Ayan, so magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. So yes, my name is Karen de Guzman Abuel, pero ginagamit natin yung Karen de Guzman. I'm already married. He's also a reporter from TV5. Pero dahil nga nauna natin gamitin yung de Guzman, yun po yung pina-retain na pangalan sa akin sa ABS-CBN. So good afternoon again. Thank you for inviting me here. And sobrang excited ko kasi kadalasan yung journalism na pag-uusapan natin sa labas ng newsroom. Kadalasan po kasi sa araw-araw, usually na mga kausap ko ay mga police, officials, pamilya, biktima, and even people in their worst day. So ngayon, kaharap po ay mga estudyante, at this is a much nicer crowd. Bago tayo magsimula sa mas mabigat na lecture natin ngayong araw, gusto ko nga, sabi ng speaker yung kanina, tayo ay interactive. Malikot din ako. Kung kilala yung kapatid ko, si Atty. K, ganun din ako, malikot ako. Pero hindi ako masungit masungit yung kapatid ko. Okay, so I'm very open na marinig ko yung ideas ninyo. At the same time, matututo din kayo sa akin. So for our first icebreaker, sige po, next slide. Okay, this is my topic, Media at the Edge. Okay, back ko muna sa real or fake, sige. Alright, hindi na ano pa na yung kapag sa Canva po kasi to, hindi na nagamit yung mga font. Anyway, so for our first icebreaker, madali lang tong game na to. Real or fake? Pero fake. Real or fake? Okay, so let's test your abilities. Sige nga po, raise your hand if you think you can spot a fake news online. Raise your hands. Wala! Hindi nyo alam kung paano malaman kung ano yung peke sa tunay? Wala? Siyempre alam natin, di ba? Nakikita natin, nadi-differentiate naman natin. Lalo na tayo mga kabataan, mga students, very aware tayo, hindi tayo, di ba, kailangan ihiwalay daw po yung Facebook sa mga tito at tita natin. So, tingin ko naman, kaya mo sagutin to. Sige po, next slide. Let's play the first video. Okay po. Ano, hindi? Ayan.
Ayun.
Ay, walang audio?
Doon.
Kaya.
Inatakan po kami ng AI.
Okay, sige, ito na lang. Based on what you're seeing, sa yung manner ng pagsasalita niya, yung pag-blink ng kanyang mata, is this real or fake?
Fake.
Fake. Okay, bakit? Bakit fake? Sige, lalapit ako dito Bakit po fake? Si ate naka-green. Bakit mo nasabing fake siya?
Ano po, yung movement po ng lips niya.
Ano?
Ano po, parang
How are you doing today?
Ayan. Wait
I hope you're good. Honestly, I'm not lying to you, and the way you treated me.
Okay, sige po. Go.
But at the same time, I will try to prove myself to you. I'll try to take some pictures with the.
Parang nawawala yung lips dun sa position ng ng face. Okay. So, tama si ate. So, this is a fake video. This is an example of a deep fake video using the face and voice of TV and radio anchor Mix Bustos. Isa po siya sa aming mga reporter. And in fact, itong video na to ay nagamit sa love scam. So kung alam niyo yung love scam, paiibigin mo na kayo, gagamit ng ibang mukha ng mga kilalang mga personality, mga gwapo, maganda, and then magde-demand sila ng money. Dahil na-in-love ka na, syempre love is blind, nagbibigay tayo ng pera. So this is an example of a deepfake video. So based on studies, bakit nag-work itong classic AI na to? Because based on studies, people trust video more than text. Kumbaga, seeing is believing. So kaya siya, maraming nabibiktima ng ganitong scam. Okay, next please. Okay, so is this video real or fake? Real? Parang patanong, real? Yung iba? Real? Sino nagsabi ng real? Ito, sila ate. Bakit real? Bakit siya real?
Mostly po kasi nakikita po siya sa reliable news.
Okay. Sino nagsabi ng fake? Ikaw, sabi mo ng fake? Natuturo ko niyo. Ikaw, sabi mo. Okay. So tama yun, this video is actually a real video and maganda yung observation ni ate na nakita niya may watermark na Radyo Pilipinas, although madali na kasing gayahin yung watermark. But this video, if you have seen it in different reports, in different credible sources, real siya. So President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. really did in fact lifted or carried a 10 kilogram sack of rice during a rice aid distribution in Manila to debunk rumors na siya ay may sakit. And in fact, hindi lang ito yung ginawa niya. Nag-jump din siya, tumakbo siya around Malacanang, nag-jumping jacks din siya para ipakita na capable siya na dumalo ng iba't ibang mga activities. Okay, next. Okay, this one's just a photo. What do you think about this post? Is this real or fake? Real? Sino nagsabi ng real? Eto, narinig kita, kuya. Tuturo ka. Sige, tingin mo, real siya or fake?
Real po. I mean,
Why?
kasi parang ganyan yung template ng TV Patrol. Pero ito ang spy ba siya?
Okay. So magandang, ang galing nga no, madidisip tayo kapag hindi natin alam o hindi natin napanood during that time. So this is a manipulated post. Okay, so fake to. Manipulated post intended to falsely suggest that the news program TV Patrol deliberately aired the same sa said claim. Mapansin natin, back po muna, sorry. Mapansin natin dito, di ba, i-edit kasi, dito sa part ng Corgen, sa text, meron pang white marks. Visible pa dito yung white marks, meaning in-edit siya. So this is a sign of a manipulation. Next slide. So this is the actual Corgen na probably kinuha during the TV Patrol live stream. So we talk about the impeachment hearing of Vice President Sara Duterte last March 19. Okay? Next one. Okay, so siguro nakita niyo na itong photo na to. This is a very viral photo. Probably taken in 2023. So what do you think about this photo? Is this real or fake?
Real.
What? Walang sumasagot, real or fake? Ay, dito tayo sa mga criminology students natin. Kasi syempre, yung mga police, yung pino-cover natin, dapat alam natin, no? Kapag ikaw ay isang police, nakita niyo na may gantong kumalat na video, anong gagawin niyo?
Real.
Ang gagawin? Kapag nakita niyo yan, yung may ganyang photo,
Investigation.
investigate. So ano yung first gagawin pag mag-i-investigate?
Pupunta yung scene kung saan nangyari, kung saan ginawa na ng photo. Pa-verify kung
Okay, thank you so much. So from the photo itself, mahirap na po ma-distinguish kung fake siya or real. So tama yung sinabi ni Kuya na you'll investigate. You'll go to the scene para ma-check kung meron talagang nangyari or wala. But this photo is actually fake. This is a fake photo. So this is a viral AI-generated fake photo about an apparent explosion near the Pentagon in the United States that caused brief stock market panic. So nagpanik yung mga tao noong 2023. So nakakatakot, di ba? Because AI images can create disasters that never happened. So police officers went there, nakita nila na wala, although yung ibang counterparts ng US na kalaban nila, kiniklaim na meron talaga. Pero nung pumunta sila dun sa area, wala po nangyaring ganito. Last one. Okay. So these are comments naman. Comments na nakikita natin sa social media. What do you think? Totoong mga tao ba to or fake? Is this real or fake? Real? Sinasabi real?
Parang hira.
Na parang narinig ko. Sige, bakit tingin mo real siya?
Pagdating ko kasi sa... wait. Pagdating ko kasi sa Facebook, merong specific fonts kung saan kapag binago po nila or inedit sa yung AI, parang hindi na nagagaya. Parang kita ko na ilang santo ba rin ba? Di ba?
So tingin mo real?
Yeah. Baka rin po, yes po.
Okay. Sinong gusto labanan yung sagot niya?
Debate?
Ikaw, go. Anong i-counter mo dyan?
Counter.
Feel ko po fake.
Kasi,
Kasi po yung mga pictures po, parang hindi po pang totoo. Halatang mga edit po. Katulad po yung mga hindi po siya totoong tao. Galing sa Pinterest po yung mga pictures po.
okay. Mga artista na yun, no? Okay. So sa simula, kung titinan natin yung comments na ito na yung basihan natin, sasabihin natin totoo. Pwedeng totoo. Pero if we'll dig deeper, malalaman natin na hindi. So bakit? Tignan nyo yung mga words ha. Kung kayo ay isang Pinoy, sasabihin ba natin yung ganitong words or paraan ng sentence? Ito, malaking bagay yung direct na tulong sa 80,000 families. Saludo. Nakaka-encourage ang ganitong move. Nakaka-relieve ang ganitong effort. Kung makikita nyo nga almost the same yung sinasabi. And very unnatural siya. So these are what we call as social media troll bots or troll farms, depende din sa media yan, for political application. Dito sa Pilipinas, madalas nagamit ito lalo na tuwing eleksyon. Kasi may mga script yan, may mga troll farms. In fact, meron akong kaibigan before na talagang naging troll, ayoko na pagbitin yung pangalan ng politiko na yun, pero binabayaran talaga sila para mag-comment. And same comments by script sila. So, marami, yung pare-pareho yung script para lang pagmukhain na ito yung pinag-uusapan na topic, kahit hindi naman talaga. Okay, next. So today, we talk about what happens when truth becomes harder to prove. Diba? Ang daming mga kanina akala natin totoo, pero hindi pala totoo. So let me first ask you, bago tayo magpatuloy, ano ang unang ginagawa ninyo pagkagising sa umaga? What do you do? First thing in the morning. Sige. Dito tayo sa kabila naman. Ano unang ginagawa paggising?
Drink water po.
Wow! Okay, dito.
Hindi ba kasi nag-check
Unang ginagawa.
Diba?
Ayun. So sabi ni ate, the first thing na ginagawa niya ay tinitignan ng cellphone. So siguro kayo, unaware kayo, but we do that, di ba? Every day, first thing in the morning, gagawin natin to check our cellphone. Either nag-alarm yan, titignan yung oras, titignan yung may text, may call, o kaya mag-browse na tayo. So even before, nag-wash tayo ng face natin, tumangon tayo, nagluto, updated na tayo dun sa mga ganap online. So in the Philippines, or in general, we are the most informed generation. Next slide. Ayan, we are the most informed generation. Lalo na sa Pilipinas, we are a movement-first, social-first country that makes us informed, but we are also the most vulnerable. Meron tayong access sa napakaraming information online, pero hindi lahat ng nababasa natin, napapanood at napapakinggan natin ay totoo. And AI just added rocket fuel to that problem. Next slide. So my beat, eto na, dito na tayo magsimula ng real life, hindi na lang po siya content. So ano nga ba yung beat na hinahawakan ko? I cover the police, hawak ko ang beat. I cover the police and law enforcement, particularly DILG. So kung nakikita niyo po yung mga interviews kay Secretary John Vic Remulla, ako po yung isa sa mga nag-interview sa kanya, Philippine National Police, NAPOLCOM. So in this police beat and law enforcement, it includes crime, public safety, and government accountability. So, mahirap sabihin namin kasi syempre, everyday, iba-iba yung crime. According to research, ang mga Pilipino, ang mga viewers natin, crime yung number 1 na pinanonood. Kaya kapag halimbawa nag-post ng any story about crime, yun talaga yung most rated or nagba-viral talaga. So bago kami magbalita o mag-post ng mga news namin, we make sure na dinodouble check namin kung tama ba, accurate ba yung information, kasi mahirap na magkamali. Last Thursday, kung updated kayo sa balita, ano yung nangyari? Sino ang nahuli noong Thursday? Si? Nababi! Grabe naman yung rapper na naalala ko.
Sabi ko.
Sabi ko. Okay. Boy, siya tabi. Diyan na siya ng ulo ba? Sa Descano. Malapit na dito sa area. Okay. Generation gap. So, nakikita natin, diba? Magkaiba nga naman po tayo ng priorities. Hindi naman kayo mali. Tama, si Abby. Siyempre, he's an OPM icon. But at the same time, on a larger scope in the Philippines, nahuli po si Zaldico. Prior his arrest, at bago mag-announce si President Marcos, meron na kami mga source. Sinabi na nahuli na siya, pero hindi namin agad pinost or tinbeat. Bakit? We are waiting for the official announcement from President Marcos. So ganun yun. Hindi porkat alam na namin yung balita, popost na kami. Kailangan mag-wait kami ng verification. Because yung verification is the heart of journalism. So being fast in journalism is important, but accuracy is paramount, serving as the non-negotiable cornerstone of credibility and trust. Next. Ito yung lagi kong pinapaalala sa sarili ko po, na our biggest fear is not being late, our biggest fear is being wrong. So ganun kami kaingat. Lalo na isang post mo dyan, kung ano ba yung nasabi mo, it can destroy or make a person, someone's reputation. Kaya sobrang mainit kami sa mga pinopost natin online. And before, ang problema po natin ay misinformation lang. Ngayon, dumagdag pa si AI. Because reality itself can now be edited. Next slide. So AI changed the information battlefield. Earlier, pinakita ko sa inyo yung mga examples ng mga AI. Meron tayong mga deepfake videos, meron pa tayong mga voice cloning, photos na nagamit na generated, articles na pwedeng i-mass produce. We are now reporting in a world where seeing is no longer believing. But let me clarify, next slide, AI is not the enemy. So kanina, tinanong ako ni Attorney Pete, di ba tinatanong ko kasi kung yung mga students ay gumagamit ba ng AI? And I agree with him. Nung estudyante ko kami, wala pa sa amin ganito yung ChatGPT, wala. So gumraduate talaga kami ng kami lang, sariling sikap. And that's the value of developing your basic skills. So ayaw nga natin yung mga students ay maging dependent sa AI. But let's be honest, for me, as journalist, we use the AI. So paano ko siya nagagamit? Sa akin po kasi, every after press call, usually nagtatagal siya ng mga 1 to 2 hours. Ang haba nun. Meron kaming deadlines to meet. So to skip that part na mag-transcribe pa kami, gumagamit ako ng SoundType AI. So with the use of SoundType AI, mas napadali sa akin yung work ko. But hindi siya ganun ka-accurate. Iba pa rin yung ikaw mismo yung nagtatype dahil yung mga simpleng stutter or buckle ng person, hindi yun nare-record ni AI. So babalikan mo pa rin siya at baka mamaya na-misinterpret ni AI yung sinasabi ng resource person na to. So hindi siya ganun ka-accurate nga, kaya pinapasadahan namin siya ulit. But I will be honest that AI helps our work faster. So ito yung good side ng AI. So nabanggit ko na kanina, transcribe interviews in minutes. translate languages instantly, nabanggit ko kanina nung kaninang gumagamit ng AI. Tama. Kasi di ba kapag sa Google, nag-Google Translate ka, direct translation eh. So dito sa ChatGPT, pwede mo siyang sabihan na make it conversational. Do not direct translate, ganyan. Scan documents fast. Nabanggit yung sa digest, I don't know. Yung kapatid ko po kasi, di ba, si Atty. K, nakikita ko talagang grabe yung hirap nila sa pag-case digest. Ganito na lang yan eh. Kung kayong yung mga law students dito, imagine, yung mga alumnus nyo, mga professor ninyo, nakagraduate sila na hindi gumagamit ng AI. Ibig sabihin, kaya nyo rin. Diba? Kumbaga yung AI, nandiyan lang yan para siguro tulungan lang tayo, pero hindi kayo aasa doon. And then, detect patterns in crime data. So, na-compare ko rin, nagamit ko to once. Na-compare ko yung mga focus crimes. Yun yung kino-cover namin sa PNP. So, nakakatulong din yung AI dyan. And it also helps summarize long reports. Lalo na po pag halimbawa kung umatin kayo ng kung nanonood kayo ng mga Senate hearings, Congress hearings, talagang napakarami nun. May deadline kami mga reporters. So, imagine from 9 to 5, kailangan by 3 p.m. tapos na kami magsulat. Diba? We work in different platforms. Meron sa TV Patrol, digital, online, news article. So lahat yun dapat magawa namin. That's why AI ay nag-i-aid sa aming trabaho. It removes the boring parts so we can focus on the important parts. So yes, AI help us work faster and speed matters, especially in breaking news. But here's the truth. AI helps with efficiency, not with judgment. Next slide. So ito naman yung dark side of AI. I showed this a while ago. So ito yung deepfake videos, fake audio statements, fake crime reports, crime photos, fake news articles, and trust crisis. Today, anyone with a cell phone or a laptop can create a fake speech ng politiko or ng reporters. Mga news anchors na nagpo-promote ng mga kung ano-ano mga medisina o produkto online na nakikita natin. A fake police video, nag-viral yung isang police na di umano ay naninigaw sa isang fast food restaurant. Nakita niyo po yun? So that's a generated one. A fake emergency announcement, fake evacuation, fake bombing, and worse, baka magkaroon din ng fake announcement ni President Marcos ordering the military to counterattack China. Tingin nyo ba kaya na natin yun? Tingin nyo ba kaya natin magsimula ng isang gera laban sa China? Hindi tayo handa. But that happened in 2024. Let's watch this video.
Department of Information and Communications Technology ang kopya ng video na gumamit ng boses na sa unang dinig ay tila boses ng Pangulo.
Sabi ko sa ating mga magigiting na sundalo, gumanti sa China kung kinakailangan. Dapat na tayong pumalag at gamitin ang ating pwersa para matigil na itong mga pambubuli.
Nakalagay din ang initials ng Pangulo maging sa pamagat ng video na nakapost sa YouTube channel na may higit 12,000 subscribers. Paglilinaw ng Presidential Communications Office at ng DICT, deepfake o minanipula ang audio nito at walang ganitong utos si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Ginamit lang yung boses ng Pangulo at ginawa siya ng script.
So, isa to sa mga incident na nangyari noong 2024. Imagine if this could have, nakarating sa China, it could have escalated the tensions na nangyayari ngayon sa West Philippine Sea. So, this incident triggered national security concern and government investigation due to its potential to mislead the public and affect foreign relations. So this is one of the clearest cases kung gaano kadelikado kapag hindi nagamit ng tama yung AI na nag-cause ng public alarm and response sa ating government. So meron na ngayong tinatawag na trust issue or trust crisis. People now ask, can we still believe the news? If everything can be fake, how do we know what is real? Next slide. So meron tayong tinatawag na liar's dividend. Okay? So ito yung recent attendance ni President Ferdinand Marcos during the Araw ng Kalitian or Day of Valor. Tignan yung mga comments, pansinin natin. Sabi niya, Same lang ang 83rd at 84th anniversary. Throwback. Di kami pinanganak kahapon, 83rd anniv pa to. Grabe, harap-harapan tayo niloloko. It is possible to transform a past video into a new live stream. So, what is liar's dividend? Liar's dividend is a phenomenon where people deny real evidence by claiming it is fake, especially in an era of AI and deepfakes. Ibig sabihin, kahit ipinresent ko na sa iyo o pinakita ko na sa iyo lahat ng ebidensya na totoo nangyari ito, nandoon kami, naka-livestream kami, kiniklaim pa rin ng ibang mga tao na peke nito. So this is what we call as liar's dividend. At ito ay nagagamit lalo na in politics. Diba? Kasi sarado na yung isip nila. Hindi sila naniniwala. Pero kung sila yung gumawa ng ganitong mga script, diba? Iba rin naman yung interpretation nila. Because we have our own versions of truth. Kahit may evidence na, sarado pa rin ang isip. One recent example, ito nga kay Marcos, dahil dito, ang dami nagsabi na binayaran daw po yung media. It came to the point that the Malacanang press corps has to issue a statement saying we are not paid. We were there. We covered this on the day itself. So wala pong nangyari ng bayaran. Hindi to binayaran para i-alter yung video. So kaya ngayon, si President Marcos, paliwanagin yung ginagawa niyang efforts to prove na okay siya o kaya kanyang kalusugan. But truth now is under suspicion. So how do we verify truth now? So as a journalist, meron po akong nililista dito na aking verification checklist. AI or the technology may have changed the tools, but our mission does not change. Mission pa rin namin is to inform, to educate, and to serve the public. So if a video or a post appears online, hindi namin siya agad-agad pinopost. Nag-undergo siya sa verification. So here's my verification checklist. Number 1, who is the source or who posted this? Credible ba yung tao? Baka naman vlogger lang, content creator, kumikita ng mga content niya online. Or isa naman siyang politiko. Kung politiko siya, ano yung motive niya? Baka leftist, suportado ba ang Pangulo? So ang daming verifications yan. Titignan namin kung credible ba yung source. Number 2, where did it come from? Saan pinost? Sa Facebook lang ba? Sa personal account? Sa official websites? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, so lahat na nagmamatter sa amin para malaman natin kung credible or totoo yung post. Number 3, when was it created? Tinahilingan ba? Nagkataon ba na pinost siya sa araw na wala ang Pangulo? Or sa panahon na impeachment ni Sara Duterte? So nagmamatter din po sa amin yung timing. Or baka naman, posted siya 2 years ago. You know how Facebook works. Even yung mga memories natin, yung mga past posts natin, it can resurface online, ganun ang kabilis. Number 4, why was it posted or shared? Anong intention ng tao na to? Baka naman for kita, dahil meron na pong monetization sa Facebook, di ba? So ang dami ng mga viewers, distributions, ganyan. So ano yung motive niya? Bakit siya pinost? And lastly, can we confirm it elsewhere? Siya lang ba yung source natin or meron din mga iba nag-post? Mga credible sources natin na pare-pareho naman yung sinasabi nila. So these are 5. Some lang ito ha. Ito yung iilan sa mga ginagawa namin para mag-verify kung totoo ba yung mga pinopost. So hindi porket pinost na rin ganito, ipopost na rin namin agad. Kailan na yung kay Abby? In fact, yung kay Abby, to be honest, it was posted siguro nung gabi pa lang, pero hindi namin siya pinick up kasi wala pang confirmation from the police. We waited for the proper channels, yung mga police natin, kasi baka mamaya fake lang. Baka mamaya AI lang, hindi pala totoo. One good example, si Harry Roque, diba? Our former presidential spokesperson, sabi na arresto daw sa Netherlands. May mga pinapakita mga photos, pero fake news pala. Hindi siya na-aresto, siya ay naharang dahil meron siyang kulang na travel document. So ganoon, hindi po tayo basta-basta naniniwala sa mga nakikita natin online. Talagang we verify it, and yun yung job natin. Hindi na kami media practitioners, kundi kayo rin, because this is a shared responsibility. Next. So how to respond an AI? So kanina, napag-usapan natin yung iba't ibang mga examples ng AI. Paano naman natin malalaman? Ito yung ilan sa mga tips namin sa inyo as journalists kung paano natin malalaman. So sa videos, nakita niyo naman, unnatural blinking, yung parang kaiba, hindi normal, yung kanyang pagpikit ng mata. Weird lighting or strange shadows, magkaiba yung setting ng itsura niya versus dun sa video. Lip sync off, tama yung sinabi natin din kanina, yung parang pinadmulong yung bibig, hindi naman siya nagmamatch dun sa sinasabi. For the photos, 2 perfect faces. Usually sa mga AI po ay parang meron ng automatic na filter. Oo, naka-filter na. Hindi nakikita yung mga blemishes, yung mga kasi nga AI generated na siya. Tapos, distorted hands. Meron sa Facebook nagbabayaran ngayon, yung bata, ginagamit ng magulang, pinagsasayaw. 2 years old siya. Scary yun ha. Hindi tayo basta dapat nag-upload ng mga photos natin, lalo na sa ChatGPT. Dagdag ko lang, nauso sa Gemini, yung mga photos na caricature. So hindi pwede tayo nag-upload lang kasi nakukuha ng AI yung mga information natin. Diba? Ano ba yung prompt? Sino gumawa dito ng caricature? Wala. Ang prompt na ilalagay nyo lang doon, parang create a caricature in everything you know about me. Tapos, yung reporter namin, tinry yun, lahat nangyari. Nandun yung mga pusa niya, trabaho niya. Imagine nila yung prompt ibig sabihin lahat ng data na nilalagay natin dun sa ChatGPT, nakukuha niya. So, yun yung nakakatakot. Going back dun sa bata, yung bata, 2 years old pa lang siya. So, parang pinapasilaw siya ng parents niya, ginamit yung AI. So, ang galing ng bata sumayaw. Ganon, 2 years old, can dance that gracefully. So, AI siya kasi nakita dun sa mga videos na naging apat na lang yung fingers. So, yun yung example ng ng AI. Tapos, strange or blurry background. Yung wala namang ganong klaseng setting sa Pilipinas or anywhere. So, for the audio, too clean. Diba? Para siyang ni-record ng isang sa voice over or sa voice audio room. Ganon. Tapos, not breathing. Iba yung pause niya, yung hinga niya. Diba parang robot na yung sound niya. Tuloy-tuloy. Parang sound Siri. Walang emotion din. Flat. Robotic emotion. And for pose naman, emotional language, yung parang hinuhong ka agad. Kung ano yung gusto niyang makuha yung attention mo. May urgency. Sabihin na share, beware, or breaking news, ganyan. Tapos no credible source. Again, kapag hindi ka tiwala, content creator lang na nakuha somewhere yung post, huwag tayo agad maniniwala. So if it tries to make you emotional fast, be suspicious. Wala namang masama na magkilala tayo sa mga nakikita natin online. Next. So, kanina may icebreaker tayo, may activity tayo ulit ngayon. Ilan tayo ngayon dito?
25.
25? So, hati po tayo sa find your own groups, tigil-lima. Tigil-lima kayo. Ayan, tigil-lima.
Five groups na to.
Okay, five members in 5 groups. 5. 5? Okay, go, sali kayo. Bago natin pinili yung video. Okay, 5. Basta create your own group Okay, so this is the instruction. Kagabi lang, meron pong isang video na nagpa-viral. And actually, this is related to Health Abby. Okay? So, nag-viral itong video na to dahil allegedly, kiniklaim ng poster na yung baril na nakita sa bahay ng rapper na si Health Abby ay tinalim lang daw or inilabag lang. Panoorin natin itong video.
Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
Sige,
Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
Sige lang, bitawan mo lang muna dyan sa babasa.
Okay, so I will give you siguro mga 10 minutes, kaya na siguro yun. Sa journalistic approach, paano ninyo gagawin? Would you post it? And what would you check first? Paano yung checklist natin para ma-verify kung totoo ba o peke yung report na ito? Go! Sige, 10 minutes.
Digital footprint na.
Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, ay nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
O, tingnan nyo yung post. Mga letters. Tama ba? Pinoy rapper. Supada.
Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
Sige na, binawa na naman yung sasabawasan.
Unclear mo na. Tama ka. Kasi,
Like, let's say,
Na pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
Sige na, binawa na naman yung sasabawasan.
Okay, you choose siguro mga dalawang representatives from your group na mag-explain sa harapan kung paano nila i-verify yung video na ito.
Kahit dalawa, nag-save na ako kanina.
And it should answer the questions. Would you post it? And what would you check first? Okay, what are the steps?
Hindi naman ako pag-PBB talaga. Digit lang ba yun? Sipinin yung sa apat.
journalistic approach.
May dalawa siya. Hindi mo naman ito mag-post it. Pangalawang tanong, what would you check first? Pag-basa yun ng video, nasa yung video? Nasa yung video ako yun? Talagang mga... May mga dyan. Mga followers lang? Pero lang isa pa. Parang yung coverage news nila sa araw na yun.
Okay, ready na ba kayo? Not yet? Okay, 5 more minutes ha. 5 more minutes.
Fronting, 5 minutes.
Pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay. Pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag ng kanyang bahay.
Ready?
At pinasok ng mga pulis. Maya-maya pa, may nakita na silang baril sa lapag.
Okay, ready na?
Ready ka?
Sige, volunteer tayo. Sinong group ang ready na? Who wants to go first? Kayo? Kayo? Wala, ito kayo sa harapan.
Tapos dapat may pangalan yung groups nyo.
Or, state your name and kung anong college. Go, here. Sino kasama mo? Hello. Tara, go.
Hello po.
Ikaw na lang? Sama ka na.
Who is better than one?
Sige, taka.
So, nawala na naman. Hello. So, yung basic observation namin, sasagutin namin yung first question na, would you post it? Of course, no, hindi pa namin na-check. And kung anong yung i-check muna namin, of course, yung mismong news. Kasi meron namang websites yung mga news channels. So, yun yung una namin i-check. Also, medyo suspicious din kasi yung link sa taas. Para pag pinindot mo, may Shopee dyan. So, commission nila yun. So, sila yung kikita doon. So, pupuntahan nyo yung Frontline Pilipinas muna.
Okay. What would you check first?
Ayun ma'am, yung
Kaya
mga-
yun. May gusto ko i-add.
So, makikcheck nyo ba? Tapos, ano ma'am, yung apartment nila, sabi ng colleague.
Check the partner.
Yung apartment niya, puntahan nyo.
They forgot to mention from what school.
Ay, College of Engineering.
Pareho po kayo? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, next group. Sige ba? Ayun, state your name, your school, before you answer the 2 questions. Ikaw na mag-isa. Sino sa harapan? Sa harap tayo.
So first, would you post it?
Ay, name muna.
I'm Jasmine Clino. I'm Darlene Sibulan po.
School?
School of Architecture.
Okay.
Mga estudyante ko yan ngayon.
First po, kanina po naman po si Kuya po. Pero mostly, ang hahanapin ko po una kasi po kung sino yung nag-post. Based on yung caption din po. Kasi mostly ang caption po na kapag direct from the news po, madami po yung caption. Since feeling ko po, from just basing on the caption po, second hand lang po siya. So hindi po ako madaling maniniwala po, not unless lang po, i-check ko din po sa website.
Tsaka to answer po yung would you post it, so it depends po. First, identify muna namin yung source. If it's first or second hand, saan galing. Then second naman po, once na-confirm na namin kung saan galing yun, if it's true, tsaka naman po namin i-consent, mag-a-ask ng consent para i-post, verification if it's pwede nang i-post. That's it.
Thank you. Next group. Sino next natin? Yung ating mga criminologist. Ayan. Tatlo sila. May tatlo na dito. Tatlo lang sila. Okay, so this is related to police matter. So, yeah, anong observation natin?
Yes po, my name is Divina Gracia Antonil po, and this is Tricia Carlos. So, first thing we'll have to do po is, same as before nga po, i-check po muna natin kung sino yung nag-post. First of all po, makita po natin sa caption na medyo sketchy nga po. And pwede po natin sabihin, its very purpose is for monetization. Unlike po sa mga trusted news outlets po na, as mentioned nga po before, is marami po talagang nakastate ng mga details. And nakasabi rin naman po pala na alleged naman po. So we couldn't tell right away if nangyari nga po talaga since there is no ongoing investigation.
For me naman po, same lang din po kasi sa notice ko po agad yung caption and yung link po. And marami po kasi sa Facebook na lumalabas talaga na link, lalo na kapag deleted na yung post na share mo. May mga link na ganun. And also yung video rin po kasi medyo sketchy siya since malabo po yung pagkaka-take ng video and parang ang weird po ng mga way ng galaw nila. Saka would you post it? Hindi po kasi kailangan po mag-check muna tayo ng credible source like news or websites. And what would you check first? Yung news, yung mga articles na mag-prove na totoo yan kasi allegedly lang naman siya.
Okay, thank you so much. Palapakan natin sila. Okay, next group. Next group natin.
Nasa harap naman po kami.
Yeah, don't forget to state your name and your school.
Dr. Puebla, as from legal management program ko, in a journalistic approach, we will view it in a practical viewpoint. Una po kasi, sa program namin, tinuturo yung yung power or importance of evidence. Very tantamang po yung paghahanap ng evidence. And as a journalist, kung kami po yung mag-post nun, of course, the answer for that question is not yet. First, kailangan muna natin sigurong gamitin yung resources natin. If kami journalist, may connection kami or may contact sa CIDG, better na tanungin sila kung totoo ba yung i-verify mismo sa kanila. Kasi at the first place, sila lang din po naman yung makakasagot kung totoo po yung video or it's just parang distorted or manipulated. And ayun po, another tantamount ano rin po dun sa question, why, yung katulad sinabi ko nung classmate namin, clicking or visiting that link would be dangerous. Kasi syempre, hindi natin maiwasan yung mga scams or probably virus siya. So, better talaga na we use our resources to get a contact from the CIDG and parang i-verify if that information is real or genuine.
And as consumers of content online po, we should always be skeptical of things we see, especially since frontline na po yung ng video, although may certain bias po against sa police or the CIDG, yung nag-post po nung video na parang may gusto po silang gustong isipin ng mga makakakita po ng video. Unlike na yung we're looking at it at a objective perspective.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Meron ba baka nakalimutan na group?
Wala na po.
Wala na? Wala na, okay. So, thank you so much. Ang ganda ng mga observations ninyo at lahat ng mga sinabi ninyo ay tama. So, sana ma-practice natin siya, hindi lang dahil activity ito. Ma-practice siya in everyday. Yung mga nakikita natin post online. So, just to give you a context, this video, totoo to real entrapment operation ng CIDG sa bahay ng Pinoy rapper. So, naging malicious lang siya kasi for one, edited yung video. talagang may intention na pag-isipan ng masama. Kasi, in-slow mo. Diba? At pinakita yung part na yung isang police officer ay apparently may nakitang baril doon sa bahay or apartment ni Kev Abby. If you're familiar with police operations, syempre kasi ito yung kahirapan din sa aming mga media, syempre nag-request kami ng video. And they are required to wear body cameras. Pero, hindi naman nila priority na mag-video sila sa ops. So kung maririnig nyo doon sa video, sinabi na, pre, ilagay mo muna dyan sa ibaba. So probably, giving the benefit of the doubt, legitimate na may nakita. Kaya lang naging mukhang scripted siya kasi kailangan kuhanan na nakuha yun sa baba. Inahawakan na ng police officer. So probably that's the story. So maganda yung mga sinabi ninyo, but in a journalistic way, how would I do it? Next slide. So ito yung gagawin ko. Number 1 is contact police. So tama kayo, if may resources kayo, lalo na ako, nasa PNP beat ako, kakilala ko naman yung director ko, sino ng operating team. So ito-contact ko sila to verify and to clarify what happened. May nagtanong kanina, bakit blurred? Diba? Malabo yung video, baka fake. So meron kasi tayong protocol, lalo na sa batas natin, yung mga suspects, victims, alam ko marami na galit, bakit biniblur? Diba? Pero required po kasi yun. Kasi in our law, you are innocent until proven guilty. And again, everything na ipopost natin sa social media can make or break that person. Imagine, hindi pala totoo na siya yung suspect. Inilang tago yung mukha at pangalan niya online. So yun yung nire-respeto natin, kaya siya naka-blur. Number 2, identify the uploader. Tama. Ay, totoong sinadya ko po na hindi ilagay yung pangalan. Kasi syempre, in respect to that uploader. Pero yes, content creator lang siya. Hindi siya sikat. In fact, konti lang yung viewer at followers niya. Pero in that video, 4 million views. Kumita na agad siya. So may objective talaga just to earn money. And yung nakita ninyong link, kapag yung link ninyo, Shopee. Yun talaga yung direct nila. Hindi ko alam kung bakit kami ganun, no? Nakakainis. Di ba you're looking for the full video, pero nadidirect siya sa ibang Nakakatakot kasi baka mamaya scam nga siya. Number 3, verify date and location. Again, baka mamaya i-upload lang siya, hindi totoo. Pero yun, ito, very timely, talagang sinakuhan niya na kainitan ng mag-uusap kay Kev Abby. Number 4, find full video. So you're right, this one is uploaded at Frontline Pilipinas. So flagship program siya ng TV5. So, andyan naman siya, di ba? Accessible sa lahat. Hindi naman siguro masakit na alamin natin, uy, totoo ba to? Tama ba to na panood natin? And number 5, get official statement or verify with multiple sources. So kapag nag-escalate na itong issue na to, may mga human rights group or lawyers na mag-question. As journalists, we have to get the side of the police. Ano po ba yung nangyari? Papaliwanag, bakit po ba dito yung nangyari? So yun, this one is not technically AI generated, pero there's an intent to deceive people. And doon nagkaroon ng pagkakamali kapag yung mga technology or digital natin ay nagagamit para manloko ng ibang tao. Because remember, journalism is not about being first. Journalism is about being right. It is better to be right than to be first always. Okay? So next slide. So ito na yung pinaka-question. Will AI replace journalists? I don't know if nabalitaan ninyo, there's a major network in the Philippines that tried to add AI reporters, mga news anchor, sports anchor na reporters. Actually, ang dami ng good and negative comments about that, na papalitan na ng mga AI yung mga anchors natin. Wala pong journalism course sa inyo, no? Pero if you, kung magkakaroon man, so magandang opportunity nga ito. So, do you think AI can replace journalists? Do you think? No, okay? No, why? So, bakit? May limitations si AI. So, AI cannot build trust with sources. Hindi naman si AI ang makikipag-usap dun sa mga in-interview natin. Hindi naman siya yung makikipag-usap kay President, sa mga police. So hindi siya nakaka-build ng trust even with the subjects, mga victims, mga case studies. So hindi yan kaya ni AI. Number 2, AI cannot ask tough questions. Alam niyo guys, out of curiosity, I tried. ChatGPT, tinry ko, parang formulate a question that I can ask to DPWH and ganyan. Ang papangit ng tanong ni AI. Kasi guys, kayo, mas alam niyo kung ano yung nangyayari. Mas may emosyon tayo, alam natin on ground kung ano nangyayari. Hindi yung kaya ni AI. Number 3, AI cannot show empathy. Hindi naman yan maaawa dun sa mga kinakausap natin. Very, emotionless. Robot talaga sila. Number 4, AI cannot risk safety on the field. Sino bang gumagawa ng groundworks? Tayo. Di ba? Kayo yung nakaka-experience ng mga may nakakausap kayo, hindi naman yung personal nakakausap ni AI. So, ang dami ng limitations, di ba? So, dapat hindi tayo maging dependent doon na parang mas powerful siya sa atin. We are more powerful than AI. Yung AI, makakatulong lang siya sa ilang mga aspects natin. And last but not the least, for journalists AI cannot hold power accountable. Hold people accountable. Yung mga balita po natin kadalasan, di ba? It causes a government to act or move. So dati Filon, ngayon ako, investigative report siya ni Sir Ted. Marami kami mga programa na nakapag-produce ng mga resolutions, napag-usapan sa Senado, napag-usapan ni President Duterte. So ganun yung ginagawa po namin, na we journalists, gumagawa kami ng mga balita causing the government to push or act. May gawin para sa ikabubuti ng ating bansa. Ano naman ang role ninyo? Siyempre sabihin ninyo, journalist ka ba? Kami po, ano yung role natin? You also have your part. So you are probably the most targeted generation in history. Not by weapons, but by information. Bombarded kayo. Ang swerte nga ninyo, dami yung natatanggap na information. To the point na minsan, na-overwhelm tayo sa dami. Hindi natin alam yung totoo. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung paniniwalaan natin. So every share, every like, repost, you become part of the media ecosystem. You may not be journalists, but you are publishers. So yun yung sinasabi namin, every repost equals distribution. Every share equals amplification. So tumutulong kayo, kung may fake news kayo na share, tumutulong kayo na maglipana yung fake news, di ba? So you are also responsible to that. You shape the information world too. And for journalists, journalism is no longer a profession, but it's also a shared responsibility. So bago ko po i-end yung talk ko nito, meron ako ikukwento sa inyo na lagi kong kinukwento sa lahat ng mga nakakausap ko mga estudyante. So kwento siya ng isang pantas. Alam niyo ba ibig sabihin ng pantas? Guro. Isang napakatalinong guro. Ngayon, may isang bata, teenager, siguro mga kaedaran ninyo, gustong hamakin yung katalinuhan ng pantas na ito. Sabi niya, mag-iisip siya ng paraan para pahiyain yung matalinong pantas. Naisip ng bata, kukuha siya ng ibon. Ngayon, itong ibon na to, natago na sa likod ng kanyang kamay. Tatanungin na yung pantas, sasabihin niya, Guro, ano itong ibon na nasa likod ng aking kamay? Buhay o patay? Pag sinabi ng guro na buhay, hihigpitan niya yung hawak sa likod. Siyempre, mamamatay yung ibon, mapahiya yung pantas. Pero pag sinabi ng guro na patay, luluwagan niya yung hawak sa ibon. Mabubuhay yung ibon, mapapahiya yung pantas. So excited na excited itong batang to. Kasi for the first time, may makakatalo sa katalinuhan ng pantas. Pinuntahan niya yung pantas, hawak-hawak yung ibon. Sabi na doon sa guro, Guro, ano itong ibon na nasa likod ng aking kamay? Buhay o patay? Alam niyo sabi ng pantas? Sabi ng guro, Iho, ang buhay ng ibon na yan ay nakasalalay sa iyong mga kamay. Tulad ninyong mga kabataan, ang kinabukasan ng ating bayan ay nakasalalay sa inyong mga kamay. At naniniwala nga tayo sa kasabihan, hindi mo tayo laging makabuo ng kinabukasan para sa mga kabataan. Kaya naman natin bumuo ng kabataan para sa kinabukasan. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Ms. Karen de Guzman. At this portion, I would like to call upon the ushers to please help me as we start and facilitate the question and answer portion of this program. Grabe guys, ibang klase talaga. Ang top, yung Ms. Karen de Guzman. Parang mapapaisip ka talaga. At sa sobrang isip, tatanungin ko ngayon, do you have any questions? May mga tanong kayo. May mga napapaisip pa kayo. Habang na nag-date mo na si Ms. Karen de Guzman. Kasi minsan, mapapaisip na kayo, hanggang saan naabot ang AI?
Tanong kayo.
Oo nga. Ayun na, nababanda na siya. Pero, does anyone have questions about the use of AI? About how AI applies in our time today? So sige, I'll give you some moment to think. And so as you think,
Ikaw, baka may tanong.
ay, paano nilalaman, Miss? Yes po, may tanong po ako. As the host, what is the biggest threat of AI to our generation? And alam mo po, you have imparted upon us, you have imparted upon us the responsibility. I would like to know what your generation can impart upon our generation so that we can continue to foster excellence, to foster resiliency against AI. So, what's the biggest threat of AI?
Okay, hindi na lang ako sa harapan. Okay, so yung biggest threat, actually, nagsimula kami, di ba, kami sa ABS-CBN, wala na kami network, so content creator na kami. Yung una, nung nag-start ako reporter, ang nakita ko na parang kalaban namin, or yung threat namin, was yung mga vloggers, di ba? Parang, in fact, ang mas marami pang viewers yung mga vloggers, yung mga balita nila, mga sinishare nila, parang kumbaga mas influential sila. Sila yung nakita kong threat before. Pero, pinaalala sa amin, remember, journalists can be vloggers, but not all vloggers are journalists. Like you guys, nag-aaral tayo, everyday, pinaghirapan natin yan 4 years, hindi naman lahat mga tao na yung carpentero ay arkitekto na. Diba? Nag-design ng bahay, engineer na, gano'n. So yun yung una kong naisip. But then, yung digital age, habang dumadaan yung panahon, threat na sa amin yung AI kasi nagagamit na siya sa maling paraan. AI was there or created supposedly to aid, to help us. Pero ngayon, parang nagagamit siya to deceive people, na ma-manipulate na take advantage, lalo na sa eleksyon natin. And dahil tayo sa Pilipinas, ang active users tayo ang dami naniniwala. Siguro, ang kagandahan ng mga general education tulad nito, is kayo mga habang bata pa kayo, may awareness na. So ano ba yung kaibahan, yung kagandahan ng generation ninyo? May mga ganito kayong talks. Before naman wala kasi wala pa namang AI dati. So kayo yung tutulong ngayon, kahit mahirap sa mga magulang natin, di ba? Alam ko, may mga, for sure, may mga tita ako. Diyos ko, kahit reporter na ako, pinaniwala ko na lahat, hindi pa rin naniniwala. Papa ko, diehard Marcos. Lahat ng Marcos video, paniwalang-paniwala siya. So yung ganun ba? So dahil may awareness na kayo, yung generation ninyo makakatulong para itama or yung mga ways na present natin kanina kung paano makakatulong na magamit ng maayos yung AI. Again, AI is not the enemy. It should be useful to all of us. So kailangan lang malaman natin yung proper way and be responsible in using it.
Thank you po, Ms. Karen de Guzman. Truly answered my question. Ayan, so,
sige, tanong pa kayo.
Tanong tayo guys. Anything, curious kayo.
Kahit ano, kahit hindi related sa AI. Kahit hindi related.
Ilan na daw ba naging boyfriend?
Sa journalism, ganyan. Ayan, ito pa.
not related po sa AI, pero curious lang po sa buhay ng journalist. Hindi po ba journalist is parang sa mga few years, palagi po silang natitretan kasi mostly malalaki yung tao na parang binabangga. Mostly may nababanggang malaking tao. How do you cope with it po? Natatakot ka po ba? There are times na takot ka po ba?
Ako, personally, lalo na ngayon na nasa 5 ako, hindi pa naman ako natakot dahil siguro laki akong Phylon ngayon. So, hindi nga siya naabutan eh. Phylon ngayon is an investigative show hosted by veteran journalist Ted Phylon. Mas marami kami malaking tao na talagang natapakan namin at nabangga namin noon. Including kasi yung ang mantra namin before was sa mga issue ngayon, may pakialam ka. So, ang dami talaga mga government officials. And naging normal na parang everyday, may mga banta, may mga threats, hindi naman sa akin, kay Sir Ted. Pero sabi nga nila, hindi kumpleto ang magiging reporter or journalist, magiging journalist mo kung wala ka pang kaso. Nakasuhan na po tayo. So nakasama tayo dun sa isang libel case na final ng isang politician sa Tagaytay pa. So yung hassle, hindi ka naman mababayaan ng kumpanya. But if you think, lalo na kapag ikaw naman as journalist, responsible ka, wala kang maling ginawa sa report mo, wala kang dapat katakutan. Diba? Unless may ginagawa kang iba. You're doing it for money or for bribery, doon siguro matatakot ka. Pero sa amin, we have our own ethics, principles, core values. So hindi kami natakot kahit may binabangga kaming tao. Kasi remember, ang job namin is to inform the people para ma-aware kayo kung ano yung katotohanan. And we always try to get both sides. Neutral kami, kung baka sabihin namin, we have our own biases ha. Siyempre tao din kami, may binoto ako nung eleksyon. Pero when it comes to news, we present it both sides. At para malaman ng mga tao kung ano yung totoo. Okay, thank you.
Yan. Thank you, Ms. Andy Guzman, for answering another question. Meron pa tayong isa.
Good afternoon po. Since na-mention nyo na rin po na hindi ko kompleto ang inyong journalist experience kung wala pa kayong kaso, bigla akong naalala si Maria Ressa ng Rappler. And based din po sa mga reports niya, sobrang dami nga pong troll bots na nag-permeate sa social media. And related po ito sa, kasi since election is also relevant nowadays, meron ding piniplay na major role ang journalism. Gusto ko lang po sana itanong kung ano yung mahalagang role ng media sa pagkalat po ng mga manipulated na mga facts, lalo na sa panahon po ng election.
Okay. Kung napanood niyo yung kampanya natin ni VP Lenny, diba? Si VP Lenny ay isa sa mga nabiktima talaga ng fake news. Medyo natagalan bago nila ginawa yung isang awareness campaign na kina-counter nila. Post sila natin sa fake, ganyan. So with ABS-CBN, ganun po yung ginagawa namin. Kapag may fake news, may manipulated na information, agad-agad na nagpo-post yung ABS-CBN, sinasabi na clarify na ito yung totoo. So, pero may liar's dividend nga tayo, di ba? May hindi naniniwala. Kahit sinabi na namin yung totoo, pinesent na yung evidence, hindi pa rin naniniwala. Kaya lang, pinupost pa rin namin, kina-counter namin siya. At the same time, we try to get sources. Nag-i-interview kami ng mga experts sa ganyan. So para hindi lang ABS yung naririnig nila. Halimbawa, doon sa AI, kay President Marcos, we could have reported it saying na ang Malacanang sinasabi na peke ito. But we got an expert, DICT. Ang DICT nagpaliwanag kung paano siya naging fake news. Yung gano'n, kailangan may segunda, may ebidensya kayong pinipresent. Kasi, di ba, in our world, ang hirap ka naman talaga, lagi yung mga journalists ay na kikitang parang hindi namin nagkakatiwalaan. Nakakalungkot yun kasi yun yung nararamdaman din namin minsan. Lalo na pa nagko-cover kami ng Duterte, di ba? Ayaw sa amin ni President that time. Talagang inaaway kami, fake news, ano yung gano'n? Pero kami, we stood by our grounds. Bakit ba tayo nandito? To serve the people. So, tanggapin namin yung mga comments na yan, pero we will present the facts. Sabi nga, lagi pinapalala sa amin ni Jeff Canoy, our Chief of Reporters, we may not be able to change the world, but we can change someone's worldview. So, yun. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Very profound answers. So, does anyone else have questions? Ayun.
Good afternoon po. Back then po kasi we have journalists here in Manuel Quezon University, but then due to busy schedule, hindi po namin naituloy. And I was one of those aspiring journalists here in our school. So, I would like lang po to ask, what is the best advice you can give to those aspiring journalists, lalo na po na kumakalat yung iba't ibang digital platforms po ng AI since sobrang daling gamitin ni AI, sobrang daling makakuha ng information kay AI. But syempre, kaming mga aspiring journalists, ano po yung isa sa mga dapat namin makuhang advice sa inyo po with experience na po?
Okay. Noong unang pasok ko sa ABS, sa trabaho kay Sir Ted, hindi ko makakalimutan, ang unang tanong niya sa akin ay, anak, hanggang kailan ka dito? Ganun ang tanong sa akin ni Sir Ted, anak, hanggang kailan ka dito? Kapag may pinaghahanap siya mga case studies, interviewees, hindi namin mahanap, huwag ka nang babalik ng ABS. Ganun ka-strict. So doon ko po na-realize na hindi pala biro yung trabahong pinasok ko. At kung naghahanap kayo, ng kikita kayo, syempre, di ba, gusto nyo pera, malaking pera, huwag kayo mag-media. Dahil walang pera sa media. Pero, ibang experience yung mararanasan ninyo. Ang advice ko sa iyo, kapag gusto mo talagang maging reporter, dapat desidido ka, sure ka kung anong papasukin mo. Nung nag-start kasi ako, researcher lang ako noon. Isang aspirant lang din ako na maging reporter. Kung hindi pa po nagkaroon ng pandemic, nawalan kami ng franchise, hindi ako makakaroon ng opportunity na makapag-apply bilang reporter. And thankfully, nakuha tayo. And nung naging reporter na ako, talagang siniz ko yung opportunity. Pinangarap ko to eh. Dati, nakikita ko lang sa TV. Ngayon, ito na kami. Remember, itong mikropono na hawak ko ngayon, hawak ni Attorney Kit kanina, hawak ng mga generations of reporters, Kabayan, Corina Sanchez, Karen Davila. Ibig sabihin, ganun ka-powerful yung mic na to. So every time na nandun kami sa field reporting, nagla-live kami, iniisip ko yun lagi, na itong sinasabi ko sa inyo, may affect not only you, but all the people. Ganun ka-powerful yung voice mo. And if you want to be part of that change, you want to be part of the draft history, itong ginagawa natin, which is journalism, then continue. Matiwala ka lang, continue living your dreams. Kasi this may not be the most elegant, glamorous, mapapayaman na job sa'yo, but it is one of the most worthy jobs na pwede mo makuha because you are changing the world by writing the history. Itong sinasabi ko sa inyo, magiging bahagi na ito ng history. Itong ginagawa ni Atty. Kit na Gen-Ed, history na siya sa MLQ. So ganun yun. Not only for journalism, lahat ng mga courses ninyo, kapag naging professional na kayo, babalikan niyo itong moment na to. Baka one day, kayo na yung nandito sa harapan. Tapos nakikinig na kayo, nakikinig yung mga future students ng MLQ sa inyo. So yun lang. Never stop believing. Imagine, Miss Karen Davila, I was named after her. Kung napanood niyo po yung blooper, nakakatawa. Sobrang ano po yun eh, sobrang mixed emotions. Kaya sabi ko mixed emotions, that day kasi naghihingala na yung pet namin. Na yung aso po namin si Aldous, mamamatay na. So nandun ako sa chapel. Tapos, pagkabalik ko ng newsroom, lahat ng mga tao, nilalapitan ako, sabi, Karen, napanood mo ba? Ano nangyayari? Hindi ko alam. So mixed emotion siya kasi si Miss Karen Navila ay nagkamali siya. And look at that, a simple blooper. Nagkamali si Ma'am Karen, pero doon pa ako mas napalapit sa kanya. At ang ganda na she's teaching young journalists na there's only one Karen Navila. There's only one Karen de Guzman. You have to create your own name. So, yun.
Ayun. So, meron pa bang ibang curious? Baka gusto mong autograph? Wala ba? May mga tanong pa ba tayo? Ayan. So ako lang ulit magtatanong, Miss Karen.
May baka meron.
Ay, meron ba?
Magtanong kayo.
Kasi kung hindi kayo, ako na lang. Maraming pa din akong tanong kay Miss Karen. Tulad na, ba't Aldous yung pangalan mo? So Miss Karen.
Kasi mahilig ako mag-ML. Lahat po ng dogs namin, ML heroes. Aldous, Harit, Hanabi, Mia. Seryoso na ako. 4 po, isa po namatay.
Grabe mo na. So,
Ay.
galing facts po yun.
Ako magtatanong.
Ayun, si Atty. Keith.
Kasi Ma'am Karen, we're trying to open BS journalism as part of our new program in MLTU. What advice can you give the institution in regard to this program? Where should we pivot? Kasi nabanggit mo kanina, ABS-CBN was nawala yung franchise, di ba? So you have to pivot then. And how does ABS-CBN in this context compete with GMA and TV5 and other news outlets? Kumbaga, kayo.
Sige po. So, yun, kanina pinag-uusapan kasi namin ni Atty. Keith, hindi na kami network, kami ay content provider na lang. Kumbaga, nakiki-ere lang po kami kasi may mga nagtatanong, Ma'am, kailan ba magbubukas yung ABS? Hindi naman po kami nawala. Lumipat lang po kami. Nag-transform na kami into another content, so which is content provider. We provide contents and umi-ere kami Black Timer. So, because of that, nangyari po nung franchise and pandemic, kumbaga na-force kami to adapt. Ito na yung change. This is the new way. Sino sa inyo nanonood ng TV? Meron pa ba? Ay, meron pa rin. Good thing, meron pa. Pero based on studies, mas kakaunti na siya. Kasi lahat tayo nakarely sa cellphone. Mas madali very convenient. Hawak natin yung phones natin, YouTube na lang, Netflix, ganyan. So, bumababa talaga yung viewers sa TV. So, siguro blessing in disguise. Pero we are always honest. We recently, sir, released a statement na talagang naghihirap ang ABS. Nahihirapan kami after losing lots of employees, around 13,000 or 10,000 employees before. So talagang nag-pivot kami and we found way na may pagpatuloy pa rin yung paglilingkod. So sa MLTU, sir, di ba kinukwento niyo nga po kanina, actually matagal ko na po alam yung institution, pero nabawasan ever since the pandemic, di ba? From 34,000 you mentioned, sorry sir. Ayan. So, nakita ko po yung, lahat naman ay challenge ngayon. But with, I think, dahil may magandang vision, yung institution, yun yung makakatulong para mas lumago ulit. Just like with our company, maliit na lang po kami ngayon From 13,000, naging 3,000 na lang. That's why we're, i-demolish, binenta na yung isang building. So gano'n, parang with the vision of the leaders, with the continued trust and yung objective natin na makatulong, we stick up to our core values, I think yun yung way para mas mapaganda pa yung ating ginagawa. May sarili tayong values. Sa amin po, in the service of the Filipino, hanggang may isang kapamilyang nanonood at naniniwala sa ABS, we will continue reporting. So I think gano'n din po sa MLQ. Hanggang meron po nagtitiwala doon sa institution, ang daming mga leaders or mga politicians nag-aral dito, di ba? So, dito tayo, di ba? And kayo, it's nice to see na kayo yung magiging next na probably guest speaker ka dito kasi you created a name of your own dito sa MLQ. So yun po yung pinaka-advice ko lang. At sobrang thankful kasi may vision yung leaders ninyo. So sana kayo rin, ma-promote natin yung school ninyo. Ayun.
Thank you po, Miss.
And it's not about the school it's never about the school. Ang dami kong mga classmates before hanggang ngayon, lost pa rin sila. Diba? Nasa student yan. Kung paano kayo tinuruan, pinag-aralan. Surround yourself with good people and you'll be at the right track. Hindi kayo mawawala sa focus. Ayun.
Grabe. Sobrang profound, Miss Karen de Guzman. Even Attorney Kit is at a loss for words. Thank you, Miss Karen de Guzman. Does anyone else want to ask a question about sa ABS, about sa buhay ni Miss Karen? May mga tanong ba kayo, guys? Yan. So, may gusto mong magtanong? Gusto ko kasi magtanong eh. Ayan. So the silence speaks for itself. Kaya, sige mag-ask na lang din po ako ng question to fill in the time. So, ayun nga po, on the topic of ABS-CBN losing its franchise, how would you say it affected? Maliban dun sa negative loss and sa transformative change. Would you say that ABS-CBN is a lot worse or a lot better po ngayon? Or what's the status po ba? Kasi yung nanay ko po, grabe yung pag-iyak niya talaga nung nawala ang ABS-CBN. So,
ayun, I think ABS-CBN is much stronger. ABS-CBN 3.0. So yun, dahil doon, syempre mas namubog din kami ng panahon. Hindi lang yung ABS-CBN, pati yung mga taong naniniwala sa ABS. Isa ako dun sa mga nag-rally. Sa liit kong to, di ba? Nag-rally kami dyan sa Pero di ba, isang boses kasi ay malakas na. Pag andun ka lang, yung beer representation, nandoon ka, tumutulong ka, kakaiba, nakakaiyak talaga na wala kami ng prangkisa. Noong time na yun, sabi ko, ay hindi na matutupad yung pangarap ko bilang maging reporter. Pero tignan nyo, yung si God gumawa ng paraan. Talagang timing lang din. Pero you create your own opportunities. Diba? Parang I don't believe kasi na you wait for the proper timing or you wait for the opportunity. You create your own opportunity. So wala na akong show, wala na si Sir Ted. Lumipat na siya sa ibang network. Nagkaroon ng opening. So kinrab natin at nakuha tayo. So with ABS-CBN now, siguro andun yung syempre nakakababa talaga ng moral na makikita natin marami mga employees na nawala na. But at the same time, yung mga leaders po kasi namin, very transparent with us. Sinasabi nila kung ano yung problema. Nakakatuwa lang, makikita namin si CLK, yung president, naglalakad lang sa may elevator. Yung ganun ka down to earth, I think yun yung mas nag-motivate sa amin, na makita na very supportive sila sa amin. So ayun, siguro hinupok na rin naman talaga ng panahon na makasama namin yung mga reporters, employees. Ayun. And ngayon, sa job naman, actually, ang daming problema dun sa work namin ngayon. Pero, kinakaya. Dahil hindi naman nawawala yung goal. Remember, laging paalala, we are not the story. We are just the storytellers. So, hanggang may mga kwento na kailangan ilabas, yun ang gagawin namin. So, it's not about us anymore. It's about nakapamilya, na kailangan na ma-airin yung mga storya nila. We are just the instrument.
Thank you po, Miss Karen. So, would anyone else like to ask? Ayun, meron! Ay, sige.
Since ayun nga po, sa topic din po ng pagsarado po ng ABS-CBN, growing up po kasi, their news po talaga na pinapakinggan namin, pati binabasa, pinapanood. Do you think po ba, during that time nga po, like, nung nasara po ba yung franchise niyo, do you think that affected people's perspective and trust po on journalists and journalism? Do you think it did such a big damage po on journalists' reputation po? Kasi nga po, sinisiraan kayo.
Siguro hindi naman damage. More of effect, yung sinabi mo na una na kanina. May epekto talaga siya. Kasi di ba sabi ko nga, even us, hindi pa ako reporter that time, tinatawag na akong fake news. fake news peddler, what more yung mga news anchors namin, veteran journalists, na talagang mas malaking mga tao na yung kinakaharap nila. Naka-apekto siya in a way. Pero at the same time, lagi kang babalik eh. Ano bang focus mo? Ano bang goal mo? Hindi naman ito tungkol sa opinion ng ibang tao. Tungkol ito sa trabaho ninyo. Tungkol ito sa ginagawa ninyo. So yun ang lagi namin pinapaalala na andito kami to serve the people, to report factual. And hindi nyo naman, even after the franchise issue, even after the shutdown, we're still here. So it proves na patuloy na lumalayag yung ABS-CBN. So yun yung masabi ko doon.
Last question daw po. Since ayun nga po na-mention niyo po kanina about sa being careful on what information you release po sa public and not being first, naisip ko lang po yung scenario na are you also very strict po sa kung anong kunwari, people around you, your friends, your family, they know news reporter ka po and stuff. When they ask you news-related or issues-related, do you have like, are you parang restricted po sa contract niyo being a journalist to disclose even to your closest family or friends? Mayroon po bang ganong scenario na bawal niyo po talaga sabihin hanggang work lang po talaga yung ganong information?
Yes, meron. Luckily, yung husband ko, reporter din siya. So we could share the same, the same stories. So yun pala, if you're looking for a partner, look for someone who would understand your job. Kasi di ba, ang hirap kasi sa oras, minsan nag-overtime kami, yun lang, buti na lang, hi Dave, ayan. May camera mo dito. Mamaya ko yung backstory, but going back, tama yun. If kapag halimbawang sabi ng source, ay wag mo na siyang ilalabas, we respect them. We wait for the official announcement bago siya ilalabas, kahit sa family mo. Kasi paano kung magkakatiwalaan ng company mo o ng source mo kung ikaw mismo mag-leak ng information? Diba? We're building trust here. Hindi lang siya nakausap mo yung isang tao one time, tapos na. No. Nasabi nga namin, itong case study mo, lifetime mo na siyang kasama. Halimbawa, tinulungan mo siya magpagamot, lifetime mo na siyang kasama, kabahagi mo na siya ng pamilya. Pero nga dyan, kinukuhang ninong, na-interview ng isang beses. So ganun siya. We build trust and we respect yung trust na yun. Ayun.
Thank you, Ms. Karen de Guzman. So, does anyone else have a question? Speak now or forever hold your breath. Ayun, may tanong si Ms. Bo.
Ano pong love story niyo ni Sir Dave? Actually, hindi ko na naman tanungin mo yan. Ang nakakatuwa, parang when you know, you know. Yan ang kinakain ko, when you know, you know. Backstory lang po, si Dave Abuel, 10 years siya sa ABS. Pero never kami nag-meet sa ABS. Until lumipat siya sa ibang network, doon lang po kami nag-meet. Bakit? Ang kasi nila, ang office nila sa ABS, newsroom, first floor. And ang schedule niya ata pang hapon. Ako naman pang umaga, third floor. So never kami nag-meet. Nung lumipat siya ng TV5, naging reporter na siya, nagkita kami sa field. Ayun na. The rest is history. So nagkasama kami sa duty. Kakakasya lang namin last year. Kaka 1 year pa lang po pala kami. Di yung sinasabi kong when you know, you know. Kasi 6 months pa lang po kaming dating. Ay, nag-propose. Ay, nakakawalan. Ayun. Tapos, ang bilis na talaga. 6 months nag-propose, 6 months after kinasal kami. Kaya kaka 1 year lang namin. So technically, 2 years pa lang kami sa relationship. So hindi yun sa tagal. Okay? Hindi yun sa tagal. Nasa yan, ang foundation sa pagkakakilala at respeto nyo sa isa't isa. So yun.
Grabe naman talaga ang love story. Miss Karen de Guzman. Na-imagine ko na nga po, parang sa news. Miss Karen, will you marry me? Magawa pa si Sir Dave.
Hindi nga gano'n.
Ay, di ba gano'n?
Hindi gano'n. Actually, andito po yung video. Wala, hindi siya lumuhod. Sabi ko, mahal, di ka lumuhod. Nakalimutan daw po niya sa sobrang kaba, nakalimutan. Ayun. Pero yun pala po, I just want to share, this is something personal. You know, if you love your job so much, syempre you have to focus on your personal life as well. Last year, I got, I had a miscarriage. So probably because of work, sa sobrang stress, dahil kong ginagawa sa field. Pero hindi ko naman siya ikinalungkot o sinisi ko yung trabaho ko. Kasi ako rin naman to. I chose this job. So syempre, nakakaedad na tayo, we just have to prioritize. Ano ba yung priority natin at this time of age? Kayo mga bata pa kayo, mag-aral kayo mabuti, matutupad din yung pangarap ninyo. But when you reach this point, na hindi nyo naman okay na natupad na, siguro ma-prioritize nyo rin yung personal life. Diba, Atty. Key? Kaya yung mga priority natin sa buhay. Kasi, di ba, minsan lang to, you can never go back. So, might as well, i-live natin yung buhay natin. Di ba sabi nga namin yun, you only live once. No, you live every day. So, make use of that time every day. Ayun.
Yan, thank you, Miss Karen. And I guess that closes off.
May tanong pa ako.
Ay, may tanong ka pa pala, attorney.
Sige, para ako sa tanong kanina.
Sige po. Ito po, attorney.
Last question siguro, unless may mga tanong pa kayo, ito na lang. Sino ang ina-idolize mo na anchor? Any member? Yun lang.
Okay.
And why?
Okay. Ayun, sir. Siguro very obvious naman, sir. My idol is Miss Karen Davila. Ang mother ko kasi, mahilig manood ng balita. Yung papa ko naman, dating barangay captain, politician siya. So, during their marriage year, napanood nila si Miss Karen, bago pa lang po siya GMA.
GMA.
Sa GMA pa siya. Patagal na. So, nung time po na yun, sabi na, okay, I will name her as Karen. Tapos, doon na nag-start, mag-speech ka, magbabasa ka ng balita sa harap ng salamin, mapanood mo si Miss Karen, college, siya po yung guest speaker po namin. Sabi ko, ganyan din ako, sabi ko, magiging ganyan din ako one day. And yun, nagkikita kami sa ABS, sobrang fangirling po talaga. Hanggang sa natupad na, nag-full circle po talaga yung moment dahil sa kanyang blooper. Nagkita at nag-close up po kami dalawa. So, dali talaga, full circle talaga siya. Yung akala mo na, ay baka ang tagal ko na, late na ako. Yung iba kong kasamahang reporter na, actor na ako, hindi pa. Pero tignan niyo po yung moment na to. Hindi siya mangyayari kung hindi ko dinanas o na-experience yung mga leads or delays na akala natin delays. Ito na po talaga yung moment na yun. Thank you po.
Thank you, Miss Karen Davila. I guess, Karen de Guzman. Nasa utak ko rin po kasi. I guess that would cap off the question and answer portion. We would like to thank you for the knowledge imparted upon us. Again, let's give her a round of applause. At this juncture, I would like to call upon Attorney Kit Hernandez Cipriano for the awarding of the certificate to Miss Karen de Guzman.
You prepare?
Babasahin mo.
Legal management.
Legal management.
Yes po.
Third year po.
Ako na magbabasa.
Yes, po.
This certificate of appreciation is hereby awarded to Ms. Katrina Karen de Guzman Abuel in grateful recognition of her invaluable contribution as resource speaker for Gen Talks, the MLTU General Education Program Lecture Series on her lecture entitled Media at the Edge, Navigating Truth and Trust in the Age of AI, held on 18 April 2026 at the Manuel L. Quezon Academy, 3rd floor, Victoria Sports Tower 2, Manuel L. Quezon University. Given this 18th day of April 2026 at Manuel L. Quezon University, signed Attorney Kit Hernandez Cipriano, Director of General Education, and Marie Antoinette Lucelle P. Ortile, Executive Vice President.
Po. 1, 2, 3, so po. 1, 2, 3, so po. 1, 2, 3, last one po. 1, 2, 3. Okay po.
Yeah, thank you. Additionally, here is a token of appreciation. Thank you, Miss Karen Guzman. And then, at this juncture, may I request our esteemed guest to take a seat for the closing remarks. So as we end this wonderful program, may I call upon Ms. Arian May Butch, the President of Kalinaw and the first-year representative of the Legal Management Society, to deliver her closing remarks.
So before we formally close the program, so I would like to speak on behalf of the students of Manuel Quezon University lang po. And as mentioned earlier, I am the first-year representative of the Legal Management Society and the president of Kalinaw Social Dynamics Organization. So my name again is Arian May Diaz Butch, first year legal management. So first, syempre, pasasalamatan natin si Attorney Kit Cipriano for organizing this course na sobrang helpful sa ating lahat. And of course, maraming salamat sa ating guest speaker, Ms. Karen De Guzman, for sharing your knowledge to us. So Ms. Karen, sobrang importante sa amin itong this course na to, and the topic itself very important to us students and to us, to our generation, to be exact. Kasi syempre, sobrang reliant namin ngayon sa internet, sa artificial intelligence, and ganoon nga sa, as you mentioned earlier, na hindi na po kami masyado nag-TV. Sa internet na lang kami nagtitingin ng mga informations, and doon na rin kami talaga nagre-rely sa mga sources na nakukuha namin. So, sobrang importante sa amin yung discussions na diniscuss nyo kanina. And from the discussions, ang daming bagong informations na tumatak sa akin, gaya kanina mong troll bots. Yung troll bots, I know the act, yung alam ko yung process na may mga ganong fake comments, ganyan, pero hindi ko alam na troll bots pala yung tawag sa kanya. So, very bago sa pandinig ko yung troll bots. And bago rin sa pandinig ko na most of the time, ginagamit siya sa politics. And dahil nasa legal management, kumbaga nasa politics, nasa legal industries po ako, sobrang helpful sa akin noon personally. And isa pa sa tumatak sa akin yung process ng publications ng mga news na pinapublicize ng mga news channels, kung ano po yung proseso ng pag-verify kung totoo yun. So yun, mas na-ensure yung trust namin sa mga channels na yun, especially sa ABS-CBN, dahil you came from ABS-CBN. So mas na-ensure yung trust namin na credible yung mga news na ibinibigay nyo sa amin. And of course, yung WH questions na pinakita nyo kanina. So syempre, because of those informations, alam na rin namin kung how we can check, double check, triple check if necessary, yung mga informations na nakikita namin sa internet. So from that, from your statement earlier din po, it's true that it is the journalist's part to give those informations, to provide us the truth and behind all those phenomena happening sa atin ngayon. And it is part of us naman, na Pag-asa ng Bayan, it is our part to not spread misinformation and be an aid of the truth. So yeah, the talk was very helpful to us, and syempre, it is also helpful lalo na it came from a certified journalist and a storyteller and a very reliable speaker, a person who looks into things in a different perspective, Ms. Karen De Guzman. Once again, on behalf of the students of Manuel Quezon University, to the organizers, Attorney Cipriano and Ms. Karen De Guzman, maraming salamat po.
And before anything, or before we end this event, to better capture your insights for today's program, our ushers are going to be distributing the evaluation forms. So gusto namin malaman ang insights niyo on what else we can improve on. Kung gusto niyo ba ng pakain? Joke lang. Pakain from Attorney Kit Cipriano. Or if there are anything else that you would like to give. Additionally, further questions for Ms. Karen De Guzman may also be forwarded to our forums. So kung hindi kayo makaisip ngayon, pero may naisip kayo on the following dates, we will just forward it to her. So yan. And i-distribute niya ang evaluation forms.
ang kailangan sa kinabukasan. Saan ba nagsisimula ang karunungan na hangad? Isang lugar na huhubog sa iyong katalinuhan, mga munting pangarap